week.
No problems for the ensign in raising the colour today. There's no real wind blowing. Major Bibby, the captain of the escort, was ensign back here in 1983 when there was a terrible wind blowing and he had awful trouble catching the colour. He's given a few tips to the new ensign this time. Still, the bands play Scipio, the regimental slow march of the Grenadiers. Guards 3 and 4 are also Grenadiers, 2nd Battalion. They actually trooped their colour last year. Senior Drum Major Stan Jackson, centre of the 5 Drum Majors, signals with his mace. Music changes to the regimental slow march of the Irish Guards. Let hear in remember, the Guards 5 and 6. This was a tune arranged by Jiggs Yeager, who was Director of Music of the Irish Guards when the present Major General Robert Corbett, was a subaltern in the regiment. We'll be watching these men with a particularly keen eye. Finally, Guards 7 and 8 and the aria from Figaro, regimental slow march of the Coldstream Guards. There's a traditional rivalry between the Grenadiers and the Coldstreamers, the 1st and 2nd regiments of Foot Guards, and when both are on parade, they're always at opposite ends of the line. The Coldstream motto, nulli secundus, second to none, perhaps gives an idea of how they see others. Bringing up the rear, the adjutant of the 1st Battalion, the Grenadiers, Captain James Gatehouse, riding Insula. Another man who's also been ensign on this parade. He carried the colour when the 2nd Battalion trooped their colour in 1984. Slow march by land and sea, written for the Royal Marines by the English March King, Kenneth Aldrin. During the march past, the field officer was beside the Queen. Having saluted her, he'll now ride to the other side to give the orders to change into quick time. Most unusually, Colonel Cartwright is taking part in the Queen's birthday parade for the very first time. He's not a regular horseman either. He last rode while competing in modern pentathlon at Sandhurst 20 years ago. He's had to get back into practice for this parade. At least his charger, Launceston, knows the job, although at 22, this may be his last parade. The field officer's biggest concern is losing his voice. There's a real demand on the vocal cords. He's had training from a distant cousin, the opera singer Nigel Douglas, whose proper name is Nigel Lee Pemberton, brother of Robin, the governor of the Bank of England, who also was a Grenadier. Colonel Cartwright says he's practiced mainly by shouting at walls in the soundproof band room, but he has frightened the odd deer on an early morning in Richmond Park. accelerate from 65 paces per minute to 116. The Quick March is a familiar favourite of the Household Division, called The Children of the Regiment by the German composer Puching. By the field officer and the parade major, the regimental Quick March, the British Grenadiers. Was originally used by all grenadier companies of the British Army, but after the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, when the 1st Regiment of Foot Guards defeated the Grenadiers of Napoleon's Imperial Guard, they were given the title 1st or Grenadier Guards. It was then that they adopted the British Grenadiers. As a result of that battle, they also adopted the bearskin caps for the whole regiment. Before, the bearskin with a white plume had originally been worn only by grenadiers. By that action and that naming, they became the only regiment in the army to gain their title directly from the part they played in action. Now, the Quick March of the Irish Guards, St. Patrick's Day. Finally, Guards 7 and 8, the 2nd Battalion of the Coldstream Guards, their Quick March, Villanolo. Just to the left of Her Majesty, Major General Sir George Burns, Colonel of the Coldstream Guards. Once again, the field officer, having been beside Her Majesty for the Quick March past, rides out, will salute her again, and then return to his position in the middle of the parade ground. The neutral Quick March was chosen especially by the Major General, perhaps for its title as much as anything, Steadfast and True. It was written by the German March King of his era, Karl Teicher, who wrote over 100 marches at the end of the last century and the beginning of this. the thin red line reformed. The massed bands move away to make room for the massed mounted bands. They're played away by the pipers playing Queen Elizabeth's March. Last, the household cavalry can move. They've been still for 55 minutes. Led on by the massed mounted bands with their director of music of the Blues and Royals, Major Roger Tomlinson, and the two gorgeous drum horses, Janus on the far side, Leonidas on the near side. Janus is the brown and white skewbald of the Blues and Royals, Leonidas a piebald, which was actually bred by Her Majesty and given to the regiment about 6 years ago. Two drum horses have the rank of major on parade. With the drum roll, they play the neutral walk past from Verdi's opera Aida. Very dry and dusty, great cloud of dust coming up behind the horses. This is the bit the foot guards hate. The sovereign standard of the Blues and Royals leads the sovereign's escort onto the parade ground. Firstly, to walk past Her Majesty and then to trot past. Blues and Royals only date back to 1969 as a regiment. It's the amalgamation of two famous cavalry regiments, the Royal Horse Guards and the Royal Dragoons. The Royal Horse Guards, known as the Blues because of the colour of their tunic. Both regiments date back to 1661 when Charles II raised the regular army, although they were in existence before that. The sovereign standard was presented to the regiment by Her Majesty here on Horse Guards back in 1983. As they reach the corner, the Foot Guards will present arms. Regimental slow march of the Blues and Royals. At their head, the field officer of the escort, Major Johnny Shaw, and the standard party, the coverer to protect the standard, the trumpeter on the grey, and the bearer, Squadron Corps Major Jim Pitt. 6 foot 4 inches and a strong man, but that takes a lot of strength. He was the corporal of horse on the Queen's Life Guard that was bombed in Hyde Park 10 years ago this July. The red plumes of the Blues Royals, the officers made of yak hair, the troopers mainly now nylon. And Divisions 3 and 4 found by the Life Guards, a regiment that dates back to a group of loyal gentlemen who accompanied Charles II in exile from 1652 to 1659. They wear scarlet tunics and white plumes on the Albert helmet.